here is just one of the, I better taste it to make sure. Now if I die here.
I've always
Tea
had
of me.
little places, so I've never tried them.
What are they?
I don't know.
So,
Red thing.
berries. Hawthorn berries. And so this is,
Never get bloated on.
this is monogyna, which means it has one seed. And the other member of the genus, which we frequently find growing in and around Seattle and the civilized Northwest, is, what's it called? Oxycantha. Yep, oxycantha or monogyna, meaning one seed. And the hawthorn is the tree in the month of May to June, which is Gemini, right? And that's the month in the Celtic calendar of, yes, really nice flesh. These are good this year.
You guys are eating them just like that? Good, they're creamy.
Thank you. And inside each of the seeds is a little edible pit, which can be relatively high in, well, if you can crack it open. Rats will peel off the flesh of the berries to eat the pit in the middle. And so you see all these pits at the bottoms underneath the tree. It's hard to see in the bottom of the tree here, but it happens. So Tierney, is she still here?
Yeah?
Oh, hi Tierney. What's the genus name for this? I quite forgot.
Crataegus.
Crataegus, that's why. Yep, Crataegus. And it's a long-lived, big shrub, small tree. Seldom, they do sometimes make enough of a trunk to actually produce wood, and beautiful wood. And it spreads by underground adventitious roots, just going thither and yon. It spreads by seeds passing through birds' guts. Hopefully not too many herbalists. And if you want to make jelly out of the berries, don't blend them with the pits inside, because the surfaces of the pits shred out to very fine but sharp little needles pointed at both ends. It does discourage eating that wonderful jelly that somebody just made for you at great expense. But in the middle of the winter, just partially dried, that's shriveled but not rock hard, hawthorn berries are a great treat. And they are the premier, gentle, readily available without killing the plant, heart medicine. And that's reducing tendencies or presentation of fibrillation, ABF, atrial fibrillation, AF, and high blood pressure, high heartbeat. By that I mean more than 70 beats per minute. If it's more than 70 beats per minute, you're just basically looking at a corpse in the mirror. I recommend everybody 60 beats a minute or less.
Wow.
Or laying down.
No, the world's best athletes average 37 beats a minute.
Wow.
While they're doing what?
Athletic.
Partially dry chocolate seeds?
Ask me. I said I would answer any questions. Without qualifications in particular.
Curious mind.
And so, indeed, I think the same thing about mine.
Yeah.
And so in the first translation of the Tedrogen book, or the official German compendium of allowable medicinal plants, the hawthorn is described as a gladner. Something got lost in the translation there, but in German it's a gladner. So that no matter what your condition, it makes you feel glad, or just kind of a little bit cheerier.
Or less
So-
sad. Less sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use it for grief and
Yes.
Heart.
Yes.
hearts. Yeah.
Broken heart.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you take? How do you
Lots.
use it? Like, do you 10 berries?
That's just a start.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my herb
Yeah.
teacher, who only lived to be 75, and was trained in Latvia by her grandma, recommended all her patients over 60, and she had a lot, drink at least 15 cc's, Canadian, so that's about half an ounce of hawthorn tincture. It was one of the few things that you would recommend in tincture was hawthorn tincture. And that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a half a fifth a month.
It's like
And
green.
she
Berries.
recommended
Berries.
fine brandy if you had a taste for it. And otherwise, the cheapest 40% alcohol, which is vodka.
Yeah.
And
You
she
can
made
easily
her
make
own.
your own.
You
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Yeah.
put them in.
So it wouldn't be
Vodka?
expensive.
Yeah, but not rubbing alcohol.
No.
No, rubbing alcohol is not poisonous in small amounts. It is deadly in large amounts, and I've been told that it's like getting a hangover without the pleasures of getting drunk. It's awful.
Yeah.
And the way this was discovered in part is because spirits, distilled spirits, wine and beer, used to be applied to people, and particularly children, with very high fevers as a way of cooling them down. Evaporation is a cooling process, but also alcohol slows down everything. And there were enough accidental poisonings of children by rubbing alcohol on them enough that they did get the hangover, but they didn't die. And so, because you wonder, well, if this is so deadly, how come you slather it all over your body and as much is absorbed as is evaporated? Well, it's not totally deadly because it's isopropyl, not wood alcohol or methanol. So all parts of the plant, leaves, and in the spring, the beautiful white blossoms, and they are gorgeous, just gorgeous. And they come on later than almost all the other members of the apple, pear, plum, peach, cherry group of fruit trees, all in the rose family, Rosaceae. And then the leaves, the little sticks, and the berries. The berries have been favored in commerce because they can be dried and they keep with medicinal value for 5 years. And in some stores, they appear to be keeping for 10 years. And maybe longer. If they've turned black or have a dusty appearance on the surface, don't use them, because the black will indicate they're vegetative reproductive spores of fungi. And if they are fuzzy and dusty, it means something funny in storage has happened, or that is another version of fungal infestation. You want them to be just kind of a dull red or maroon, or sometimes shiny. If they have been touched by a light freeze, not a hard frost, but a light freeze, then that's the time to pick them. And when you go to pick each one, which takes a long time, the stem pulls out. And that means that the berry flesh is basically dead, and it's just like cooking, in that it is really therapeutic in those short hours on that day after. And so if I'm making tincture, that's what I try to get. And I keep my eyes on a bunch of different trees. It was planted as an ornamental on the island where I live. And on the island where I do most of the harvesting, orchis, it is planted by itself, and the deer that just kind of poop it out in their stools. But they will not eat the greens. It's one of the few trees that the deer will not eat. And I don't know if it makes them too Bambi-ish, or no one has been able to explain to me. Now, what is the alkaloid here that the deer are trying to avoid? Because they'll eat rose bushes right down to the ground, and on and on and on. Miserable.
So you try to pick these after it's just been touched by a frost, and when you pull it off, this freeze,
Right.
the stem
Because what
stays there.
freezing is a form of cooking. That's why, right. Frozen meat is so much easier to eat than just killed and sitting around for a while. Works for plants. Because it bursts all the cells as the water in them swells up. Nice to know.
So you just put the whole berries after the first freeze
Yeah.
into a
In the
substance,
vodka?
vodka.
Yeah.
Infuse it and like you.
Yeah, and shake it every once in a while, and it often turns this gorgeous color. And how come this is not sold for $100 a bottle or something?
You fill a jar with the berries and then
Yes,
lock it to the top.
right.
Okay.
And use 2 jars, because it's really easy to, well, I can't throw this stuff out. I'm not going to pour it back in the bottle to drink the half that won't fit in.
Oh, that's true. We do the same thing with blackberries.
Exactly. Me too. I've learned to just be less enthusiastic about the blackberries.
So
Wait,
you use
I
two.
don't see any blackberries. How come?
Oh, yeah, there were.
Oh, here's some back
Yeah.
Did you eat any?
Yeah.
So Dr. Drum, did you say 2